Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Johnny Disc Golf here, and this time I am joined by my good buddy, Mr. Väinö Mäkelä. How you doing?
Doing good, doing good. Off-season is treating me well, and I'm happy to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Oh, dude, no problem. It's honestly a pleasure to speak with somebody like 10 hours away in time difference. I know it's the evening for you. It's my morning, so thank you so much for taking the time. How's the off season been though? Is it a frozen tundra out there yet? Have you been practicing grinding? Are you just like not even looking at discs right now? Where are you at?
Yeah, so first like 1.5 weeks, I took just like a totally off disco and totally off training, and just wanted to relax and take it easy. And after that, I have been grinding almost every day. Of course, taking like one day off per week, but otherwise practicing pretty hard like past 3 weeks. So yeah, it's been pretty nice, and also being in my home and just chilling out. That's just fantastic.
Yeah, just having the time to like sit back and relax. And I know for you, or at least I'm pretty sure I saw a social post shortly after the season ended. Did you like buy a new apartment? Are you moved into a new apartment? Talk about the new space and how that's been treating you.
Yeah, so yeah, I bought a new apartment actually, and that was during the championships. My girlfriend and my manager went to see this house, and I was like, yes, this is good house. Buy this for me. And it was basically that I didn't even see this house before I got it. Yeah, so I we moved with my girlfriend to this apartment like 3 or 4 weeks ago. So it's been nice.
Dude, I can completely empathize. Me and my girlfriend moved into a new spot like right as the season was winding down. So I was here for like 2 weeks or a week and a half, and then I was
Yeah.
on the road for like that end stretch of the season. I didn't get a chance to like nest or like really enjoy it. So this off season's been really awesome. Like we just got a new couch in yesterday, kind of doing that whole thing. So I completely empathize, man. It's probably a
Nice.
blast. Um, Moving on to the reason that I initially hit you up to speak a little bit about or on my channel. The announcement came in a couple weeks ago or a week ago at this point about Champions Cup being rescheduled and moved into really like the meat of the season as far as the North American scene, and especially the meat of the season over in the European swing. They placed it in between Preserve and Des Moines, which, looking at the schedule, seems to be when a lot of those, especially yourself and the European syndicate, would leave after maybe the West Coast swing and spend that entire time in Europe. Now the choice, you're going to have to fly back for the major, fly back for the finish of that European swing. Talk about maybe your gut reaction when you heard that news, and your opinion on the timing of that tournament now.
Yeah, I when I first heard about that decision, what PDGA made, I was like, really, like finally when we get like a good tour in Europe, that PDGA want to screw everything after like a nice planned DTPT season in Europe. And yeah, I was pretty mad. I was pretty sad and mad at that point. And but yeah, it was terrifying to see.
Well, let me ask you: Did anyone over there in Finland, or maybe any of the people that you're talking to day about this stuff? Did any of you guys see this coming, or was it like, what, they put it then?
Yeah, it came like out of nowhere, like out of nowhere. I was like, I can't even remember what I was doing. I think I went to the gym, and then I look my phone, and there was like a Uldiver like news that okay, Champions Cup is gonna be, and like at that point I was like, really, after Turku Open, at the same time at Swedish Open, I was like, really, like why this decision, like making no sense.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. It is difficult, right? Because you know, from the North American side, they're trying to figure out how to squeeze that major in, and I don't know the logistics of the whole thing, but I do know that like on our side for the OTB Open, I'm like, in the know and connected with the tournament organizers there, and it can be very difficult to find a good weekend given other things that are happening at the park or other reservations that you may have. They're already doing Ledgestone, so if Nate wanted to bring it back, it was going to have to work in contrast with that. So there is a lot of balls to juggle, but it does seem like they left the European swing, out to dry a little bit. Now, I have seen that they're going to go back and maybe look at other dates, but how would you solve this? What would be your answer? Is it a major at the end of the year? Is it, keep the weekend and just deal with it? How do you, 3 majors? How do you solve it?
So I felt like when they originally posted the schedule and the Champions Cups was, I think, after the every single event of the year, like in November, on November, and I don't think that's like a good choice either, because then people need to extend their season by 2 weeks. And think about it, starting our season starting of February and ending like mid-November, that's like a crazy, like how long a season that would be. And if I'm thinking this and thinking like the right decision, I feel like it's gonna be between Music City Open and DDO, because when you play Music City Open and travel to DDO, Illinois is like a midway to DDO from Music City, so that would be like a perfect match. So I don't want to deal with the Champions Cup dates how it is right now. So I'm hoping that they're gonna move it like somewhere there. I don't know what it's gonna be like the right decision to do, but yeah.
Well, how has let's just say that they don't find a new weekend, they stick with this, and this is what the schedule looks like. How would you approach this situation? Would you skip a major? Would you skip some European events? Would you fly back and forth? Like, if it does stay how it is, what is your approach at it?
Yeah, that's so hard. Like, why I need to be at that situation that I need to choose between Europe DGPT Tour and between major? Like, how is it even possible that I need to be in that situation? I'm feeling like so dumb that I like need to me I like need to make that decision at that point. But if that's gonna stay how it's looking right now, I think I would skip the major, because I have been waiting this so long that DGPT is going to go Europe and having like a 5 tournaments. So yeah, I would skip the major like at that point. What I'm thinking right now.
Yeah, I mean, my guess is that you would not be alone in that one. Over the last 2 years, there's been you have been coming over to the U.S. and playing for a long time, right? It was like Seppo was kind of the only Finnish player. Then you were kind of coming over with Seppo. Now there's a legion of Finnish, Swedish, Czech, Estonian. There's so many Europeans playing the tournaments that, like, this is something that we really need to consider when you're setting up the schedule. And my guess is that many of you guys would skip that major if it stayed in this current situation. Have you talked to any of the other Europeans, any of the Finns? I don't know how close you are with any of those guys during the off season.
Yeah, so I have been talking with Niklas and Tuomas, and actually with Jakub also, and we have been discussing that what's going to be like the right decision to do. But we haven't came with the conclusion that what's going to be like the right thing to do. But everybody have been like so confused this situation. Let's be honest, and yeah.
Well, I still hold out hope, honestly, that they will find a happy medium. And you had mentioned, through some texting earlier that MCO DDO Pocket does seem to work really well. And you're totally right. I looked it up. Now, it would create like, it's in April. It would create like 5 events in a row or 4 events in a row or something like that, which, is kind of annoying, you know what I mean? Especially like we're talking a 4-round major that you would have a full elite series right before that. I think they would even get a little bit of grief if they decided to go in that direction. So I almost think just like, can we not just have 3 majors for 1 year? In 2015 there was 5 majors, so like it's not a guarantee that we have 4. What's your thoughts on taking away a major and only going with 3?
That I think that would be also pretty weird that we would have only 3 majors. Like, like a perfect world for me, the 4th major would be in Europe. Like why not? Like two majors in Europe. But I know like that's too crazy, because thinking that how many players there's in USA comparing to Europe. So of course that's not gonna be the case. But yeah. It would be weird that if they're going to cancel the World Champions Cups and there's going to be only 3 majors, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, no question. So I want to speak a little bit about the European scene as a whole. I will be the first to admit I have not yet made my way to Europe for the European Open or any of the European Pro Tour events, and it's really like the last voyage that I really want to make. I've been working in disc golf for years now and somehow just have not made it out there. So I don't really have like firsthand knowledge or context to the growth of the scene over the last handful of years. But I'm curious, like, just from stateside, there's so many players coming over. I have to imagine that the level is just increasing rapidly over in Europe. So could you speak to maybe the growth in the European game and why now you have to factor in the European Tour with the American Tour in a way that they never had to before?
Yeah, so it's been crazy after the COVID happened, and I think there's like, of course, like people started to make YouTube content and started to use social media more, and we got good attention from the media like during the COVID time, and I think that have been like a pretty big factor with the increased like players in disc golf. And yeah, I think it was like good timing with the good sport that everyone could play like that time when the COVID happened. Like you can be outdoor, just having fun with your friends and keeping the distance, and it was perfect match on that situation. And yeah. And we are having like so many good talented players and upcoming players from Finland, and actually like all in Europe, and it's crazy to see that there are so many good talented players outcoming and coming to States and just playing in Europe, and it's so nice to see.
Macbeth spent some time out in Europe last year. He skipped a handful of the North American Pro Tour to play the European Pro Tour, and what looked to me like attempt to grow and push that scene as much as he can. Did you feel like that had any effect at all, gallery wise or players wise, or just like the energy at those events?
Yeah, I felt like there were like more gallery, of course, when Paul played those events. Like, of course that's happening. Like 6-time world champion. what you can like what to see? But yeah, I think that was a big thing that Paul wanted to play the Europe tour compared to United States, because he said that he don't want to play like the events what he has been playing for like how many years, 10, 15. Like I can't even remember how many years he had been touring, but yeah, it's been like a pretty big factor.
He even said, I mean, I saw on a social post too, he commented on that announcement, like, you guys know where I'll be, and put a Swedish flag. So, I could see even the top of the top making a statement about that decision and maybe swinging over and playing the European Tour. It would be really interesting to see the priorities there, especially with, Macbeth is trying to catch Kenny with majors. So if he would skip a major, like, that is a statement person.
Yes, for sure. If Paul is skipping the major, I think everyone should skip a major at that point.
let me ask you this. Do you feel so right now for the most part the eyeballs are on the North American tour. It feels like the big leagues per se, and the European tour at time is like a training ground for a lot of players to like get some reps, play a lot of good tournaments, and then come over to the biggest tournaments, which are in North America. Now, do you feel like that is do you want to see two equal but awesome tours happening, like a European tour that's just as big and bad as the American tour? Or do you feel like it is kind of good to have almost like a training ground? Like, because the disc golf market is not massive. So to split that between European events and US events, I don't know that that's the best answer either. Like, how do these two tours work in tandem in your eyes?
So I think like the perfect thing would be like we have like let's say 10 stops in United States, and then maybe like 4 spots in Europe, and then like maybe 3 to 4 spots somewhere else, maybe South America, Australia, China even, like having like a real world tour, how we used to have like back in 2017 and 16 and 15 when the UC made the world tour. Like I want to see that happening. Like we have the biggest tour all over the world. That would be like the perfect thing to do. But like at this point when it's not happening yet, I think it's like nice that in Europe European players can practice their skills, and then maybe when they are ready, then they can go to try their wings in the States.
It kind of reminds me of like the G League in basketball, honestly, where like you have a lot of like up and comers. People are like kind of digging through and watching some of their favorite up and coming players on those tournaments. But like you don't necessarily see, for us in the States, we don't see like an onslaught of media coming from those European events. So it can almost be like fun to track the like little gems in the rough, if you will, or like go back and watch the footage of Nicolas a few years ago, playing over there. And it's like, wow, this is, it's almost like the minor leagues kind of, but we want to put, I could see pushing it towards like splitting, just having, like you said, like a world tour, UC style.
Exactly. That would be like a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it comes down to this though, right? Cash money as everything.
Yes, of course.
I want to pivot a little bit off of the, specifically European talk, and I want to talk to you about your season, this past season. You got your first podium ever I believe the first podium ever at like a DGPT Elite Series, a major North American event, out at in Emporia, right, for Dynamic Discs Open. So you had maybe your best finish ever, but how do you feel like your season went overall? What's your review of your 2023 season?
Yeah, actually, I got the podium in 2022, so I didn't got any podiums last year. Yeah, you're good. But yeah, I think I got three top tens in a row. So that was like a good part of the season, like in April-ish, and yeah, and how the season went, I felt like it was like too steady. I needed more like hot rounds for sure. Like my rating got a little bit up, but it wasn't like too interesting to play. Like when you are not shooting like hot rounds. I shot like a 1030, 1035, 1040 rounds so many times, but I was missing the hot rounds for sure. And I think the putting was the thing why I didn't got those rounds. So hopefully for the next year I can fix that and getting the hot rounds going on.
Yeah, it's also, it's an incredibly long season, and I can't even imagine. Like I know what it's like to tour in a van and do that whole grind, right? Where you're just driving from city to city, and I started at home, drive all around the country, and come back at the end. But it's a totally different grind, not being anywhere close to home. in rental cars, not having your creature comforts around, and then you're having to go back and forth multiple times throughout the year, incredibly long flights, weird layovers. There's going to be a canceled flight at some point. You just know that throughout the year. Like, how were you doing at the end of the year? Were you still like mentally there? Were you fatigued? You know, were you just ready to get home, like USDGC Tour Championship, those tournaments?
Yeah, I feel like after the second round of the DTPT finals, when I didn't qualify for the when I didn't qualify for the final rounds of the finals, yeah, at that point I felt like so fatigued. Like I was like so done of the season. I was like, okay, now I need to like a couple weeks off, just like be relaxed and don't think about disc golf too much. Yeah, and especially when the season is so long, you need to find your own things, what you want to do, that you can get your brains out of disc golf, like doing something else that you can let the disc golf away, and you can just focusing on something else. Like during the off season, I like to play with like I like to play computer, so I can get my brain off of the disc golf and just focusing on playing.
Mm-hmm. So we had there was a bunch of great performances by European players last year, but I think honestly the year before 2022 was maybe more great performances by European players. I'm thinking Niklas at USDGC, Linus down the stretch at MVP Open. You had your podium 2022. Who's going to be that first European man to win on the biggest stage here in the United States?
I think that would be wrong to say that like other players that are like me. Like, of course, I want to say like I'm gonna win. I'm gonna be the first European player to win the tournament there. So yeah, of course, I'm believing myself.
Do you guys talk about that amongst each other? Is it like a race? You know, I know Ella and Holland have a bet with each other, had a bet with each other about who would win their first big one. Do you guys like, are you rooting for each other to win them? Is it like a big team atmosphere when one person has a great finish, or are you like, I'm going to get these guys? Those are your main competitors.
Yeah, of course it's like a team atmosphere because we are like Team Finland in the United States, and of course we are cheering each other there. But I think that's like silenced like goals that we are trying to achieve before the other guys is gonna achieve that. Like it's not something that we are like saying it loud, like, okay, I want to win something before you. And of course, if someone is in that situation, of course we are cheering that guy, like, okay, finally go get that. Like, this is your chance. Like, go and win it. And of course, it's like we are cheering all others.
Yeah. So we've moved into the off season a little bit. You mentioned that you enjoyed playing computer. Are you playing games on computer? What's the game? What are you playing right now? What's the game?
Yes. So yeah, I'm playing games with the computer. Right now I'm playing Hogwarts Legacy, and they released that in February. So I didn't have any chance to play that during the season, and so now I'm enjoying that very much. I have been playing a lot.
Nice. Oh my God. I've been playing Baldur's Gate 3 this off season. I don't know if you're familiar with that one, but
nice.
It's like, it takes up way too much of my time. It's actually ridiculous. But are you watching any TV? You watching any series? We're moving on to content corner. What is your, like, have you been binge watching anything? You and your girlfriend, what's the show right now?
Actually, we haven't started any like series yet because we have been pretty busy with the house and with our practice, because my girlfriend is also pro athlete, so we have been pretty busy with our schedules. But hopefully we can just sit in front of the TV and just watch some series. That would be nice. But yeah, it's gonna happen sometime.
Well. Väinö, really, dude, I appreciate the interview. That's for the most part, all I had for this one, but I wanted to give you a chance to get anything off your chest, speak to the fans out there. If there's anything else that you wanted to say, relative to the European announcement, or the major announcement, and all that kind of stuff, now's the chance. The floor is yours.
All right. Thank you for everyone supporting me on tour and just watching me and following me. It means a lot, and especially for the US fans, because I am not doing that much US like English content to my YouTube channel. So thank you for everyone following me and supporting me, and see you on the next season.
I love it, Väinö. And I will see you in, I don't know, a couple months, I'm sure, at one of those first few events. But again, that is all I have for this interview. If you at home would like interviews with all of your favorite professional disc golfers, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel.